This is Masters of the Market. I'm Johnson Andrews.
And I'm Eric Clary. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 3. We're number 3 now of Masters of the Market podcast.
Some might say we're a success now.
Yeah.
3 episodes.
First episode in that hasn't even launched yet, but we know it's going to be a success. We got two Connors Square here with us today. These two Utes are from the Toronto area.
Yes, sir.
They both are in sort of sales jobs on their day-to-day. But today we're here to talk about RGI, which is Rev Gen Incorporated. And this is a company they've started that's really unique. And they're going to talk a lot about it today, which I'm going to be one of their premium partners with on a golf tournament that's coming up at the end of September. So I guess we'll dive right into it. If you guys want to talk to us a little bit about why you started it, how it came about, maybe a little bit about your relationship, and then we can kind of get into why we decided to work together to the degree that we've chosen to, sort of our long-term vision and all that sort of cool stuff. So RGI, tell us about it. Why is it a thing?
Thanks for having us on today, boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really appreciate it and really appreciate the opportunity to talk about the RGI. So I'll just give you a bit of a background on the RGI. Rev Gen Inc. is the company, and then Generators Invitational is the golf tournament that we host, which will be on a semi-annual basis. And the origin story really starts from 2022. A couple of us like-minded sales bros decided we wanted to kind of get together with a bunch of sales bros who we could collaborate with, who work in different industries and try to open doors for each other.
Just a bunch of bros.
Basically,
I'm sorry. It worked out so perfect because you got the Patrick Bateman hair going on, and we got the bros, and we were keeping this in for the video, but no, because I just met you guys today, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I think it's exciting, and I didn't want to cut you off, but when you drop the bros, I think the biggest thing for you guys is just it's like-minded individuals trying to find something in which that you can all work towards or mind share to grow, right?
Yeah.
So the focus of the tournament that you guys are having, that Eric's a sponsor of, is that going to be a lot of like-minded sales individuals in which that are coming together?
Right. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the tournament, or even like RGI, the company, right? Can you tell me, like, I want to learn more about that as well, because I think tournament's going to obviously be a great time. I think we got a bunch of bros out there.
You got a bunch of bros.
We got a bunch of bros. The bros know
young, hungry guys.
Yeah, it's young, hungry guys. The bros know how to get down.
Yeah,
right?
talking about quarterly fucking sales.
100%,
Talking about T4s and how well everyone's doing. But so tell the company itself, right? Like, I think the golf tournament's a platform to bring people together. But then the company itself, I'd love to learn a little bit more about.
So Rev Gen Inc. is, we're just scratching the surface with that. It's not just a golf tournament. We were kind of framing it right now. It's a collective, right? It's open-ended. It's going to grow. We've got a number of different things. We're not going to pull our pants down and show you guys everything right now. You know what I mean? We've got a ton of things in the work for the next couple of years. But the Revenue Generators Invitational, the RGI, this is where it starts. It's kind of, bridging the gap. We know guys in their late 20s, early 30s, young, hungry guns, right? Guys that just need to network. Guys want to get their name out there. They want to network with like-minded sales guys that are trying to do the same thing. And it's in a, unobtrusive space where guys getting out there, get the blood flowing, a little bit of competition. You got, a ton of fun stuff going on. We're drinking, we're having fun, but we're, quite literally just building our network and growing as sales professionals. And it's not just sales guys, right? We got finance guys, you got founders, guys that just genuinely want to, expand and grow their career and not have to do it in such a confined, we're looking at things like Collision Conference, which could be a long-term goal for Rev Gen Inc. It's a little bit, it's putting limitations on it. It's not as fun and collaborative, but you get guys together for a golf tournament. We're chatting shit, we're having fun. That's where, you can actually drive some interest, drive some engagement, and, get a ton of guys out there without feeling like you're going to a work event, right?
Well, we hope it's not a work event. I want to go there and have some fun.
And then just even like, so this is your second tournament.
This is our third.
Third.
Sorry. I downplayed you guys. I didn't know that.
We're big time.
So I'd like
3
to make
podcasts, 3 tournaments.
Yeah. So like I'm gonna be one of the main things in terms of my sponsorment package is the barbecue. and I like when we were speaking, right, is any business, I don't care what market you're in, you find inefficiencies and you adapt and implement new strategies to make it better. And as you mentioned, having the barbecue before everybody gets out on the course is just so much better for what you guys are really trying to do,
right?
Which is obviously what I'm trying to do, right? We're obviously on the same page here with what we want. So that was just those little things that I pick up on, right? I run successful companies. I've started them from scratch and built them. So I understand the discipline you have to have and the you got to be very flexible.
Flexible, man. Trial and error, right?
So I like that. And I mean, I like the sort of setup, we spent probably 3 hours on the phone, right?
Right.
And we've all had a couple Zoom calls and whatnot.
We were chatting.
It's just cool to see if you guys are willing to make changes that to maybe some of the viewers, like, who cares of the barbecues before? I understand what these tournaments, I get it. So if you're willing to spend time and energy just modifying something small, that shows me that some of the bigger items will be addressed as well, right? And we'll be able to communicate, because we're not planning on doing this once, right? Like, I think this
tournament's gonna have legs, man. And
for me to be involved is what I mean. Like, this isn't gonna be you guys are, I'm not gonna.
No, we see like a long-term future with this, and I think we can really grow the collective in general. And I think like another aspect of it is networking, but like helping people at like the age of 30 open doors to maybe people who are maybe somewhat unattainable to get in the door with. Like, from my perspective, like reaching out to C-suite executives. I don't know them directly, but maybe I know somebody who can intro me. Whereas, Eric, you're an executive, you both are executives, and we're more roughly the same age. It's easier for us to include you guys in the tournament and get to know you and help you kind of create brand awareness for your own businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know what it's like, man. You do a lot. You've actually done probably a lot more of this sort of outreach marketing stuff than I have.
And that was something that I was even curious about, just because to me, I think one of the nice things about you guys coming on, talking about this and growing a network of individuals, we call it bros, but it's open to really everyone at the end of the day. Yeah. But I think one thing, just coming back to it, where you can give insight to maybe listeners, is your sales skills and background when it comes to networking, right? So even if you go back to that barbecue, so to speak, obviously it makes sense to have it before the tournament starts and everyone's already out there enjoying themselves and having a good time. And realistically, the barbecue is more of an informal setting, maybe, where you can approach someone and have a conversation, rather than everyone sitting with their foursome at a table with their thumb up their ass and not talking to anyone new.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So I think that's something that's important there, where it's like, instead of getting someone at their seat locked in, the barbecue allows them to get out there and have those conversations, which is really what you're trying to build in my own head, right? And when I hear you talking about it,
another big thing,
not to put it in your mouth.
No, you're right. You're right.
No, 100%. I think another big thing too, right? We have this sort of structured. It's a shotgun start. So we've got, two groups teeing off at every hole.
So that's a full tourney.
It's a full tourney. Right? Two groups teeing off at every hole. So every hole you're collaborating, right? You got 8 lads out there that are just chatting, that are, talking about what's new, what's exciting. And that's kind of, another way. And we're passing through. We got activations at every hole. So there's, for brands that want to get involved, obviously there's valuable face time. There's time where you've got, 7 guys that aren't on the tee box that are just chatting, and they're, open to hearing about what you have to offer, open to hearing about how you guys can collaborate. So it's a fun, exciting way to just, be competitive, get in the mix with other competitive people, and also, grow your network.
I guess to get right into kind of how as most of you know, I'm essentially a real estate asset manager. I manage people's money in the real estate market, right? So from acquisition to stabilization. And talking with you, right? Like, I know there's opportunities with a lot of these guys that maybe buying in Toronto seems out of reach,
Absolutely.
right? Like, and I'm like, well, why don't you buy a duplex down here in Niagara for half the price, twice the income on the rental side as a gross number? And then leverage that asset to then buy you and your fiance or you or whatever it might be, your place in Toronto. Those are the conversations I want to have.
And that's what clicked.
There's value in that for
that's
people.
What clicked.
100%.
Yeah. Obviously, when we're talking with brands who are looking to be a part of this tournament, the biggest thing here is making sure that, our audience is aligned with your target audience too, right?
Absolutely.
And we had that conversation the first time we met. We're getting after it. We're almost hitting scary hours. That's what it's all about, right? That's where you make some of the most valuable connections.
So you actually followed up on those conversations. Like, we're going to work together.
I put it in the calendar the minute it happened, right?
That's your sales background.
It clicked.
It's 4 a.m. We clicked immediately.
But
that's it, right? It's like, we got 100 guys out there, more or less 100 guys out there, making good money, but we're early in our careers, right? We're not quite at that point where we're ready to put down $400,000 or $500,000 and get a $2 million penthouse in Toronto.
Yeah.
But we want to start generating some income off our assets. We want to start getting some real estate in our name.
Even having assets.
Exactly.
Generating
Having
income,
assets
Literally.
whatsoever. And I think that's where, this partnership made sense, because so many of the guys out there that are just not quite at that point yet to purchase a place in Toronto where we're, most of us at this point are based, can look into opportunities with you, where it's a turnkey solution, right? You've got everything from the investment opportunity, you've got the construction, you've got the rentals,
the architects,
you've got everything from start to finish. It's kind of like a foolproof plan to just grow whatever revenue you've got saved up, whatever assets you've got saved up. You put it into something down here, and you let it work for you,
and let somebody
and
else.
You let the
But
If you're not the best at, always outsource it, right?
And Johnson does all the financing for my investors, and so he's going to put these people into products that make sense.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the problem with mortgage brokers, and the reason me and John, I'm very, very loyal and exclusive. Not just because he's my buddy, but because he does a good job. He's legit. So when I pass him off, I'm not following up to make sure he's not selling them a mortgage product where the bank pays him a little bit more. So you know what I mean? Like I'm way too far along in my career to be dealing with people like that.
It's also the fact of like we talking about maybe with you, if you wanted to come and invest down here, we want to make sure that we're mindful of, okay, this is an investment in an asset in which that we want to try and maybe leverage in the future to go buy that penthouse that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we're using those correct mortgage products and aligning with the long-term goals of whoever it is we're talking to.
100%. And the problem is it's not even $2 million. That's a like a far-stretched example. But even to buy a $700,000-$800,000, well, no, I mean, but most people aren't buying a penthouse for their first property.
Exactly.
Right?
Then that's
so
what I'm
my
saying.
point is, not only do you got to buy that, you got to come up with the down payment, and right now with interest rates, right? Like you're not only coming up with the money to secure the asset, now you have to pay this gigantic monthly payment.
Exactly.
Whereas you come down here with me, get an asset, don't wait. Time in the real estate market, it's not timing the market. It's a basic real estate concept to consider always. So you come down here, I pump out $4,000 a month in 2 units, right? The tenants are paying those payments. So you're building equity, your depreciation's there, because we already just had a pretty sizable correction.
Yeah.
You're making money because the part of that gross mortgage payment, a piece of that is principal recapture. So now your debt's going down a little bit. And then you might have cash flow. Might be small right now because of the environment, but that's being paid by somebody else. So now you have your money working for you in 3 different ways. Now you have so much more leverage. You have rental income to help you get approved for that other house because everything I do is legal. So the bank, he'll consider whatever 50% or a portion of the rental.
Well, because
income.
they're legal, sometimes I can even use 100. Whereas that's
the difference. Using something so if you got $4,000 a month coming in on a rental, that's 48 G's a year. If you make 150, now you make 200. So it helps you get approved. It's income qualification.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many. These are the conversations I want to have because people just don't know.
Yeah.
Right. They think buying a house is like this because it's like, keep in mind our parents. Like investing in real estate wasn't. I mean, there's definitely people that have done it, but it's not a popular thing like it is today. It wasn't back then. Like
and
people.
I think sorry to interrupt you. I think a cool part about what you guys have being built out in terms of with RGI and bringing people together is within our current generation. So if you go talk to your parents, right? Or even if you have a conversation, they never had the conversations that we have when it comes to even conversations about employment status, how much people are making, or even how many houses you own, right? Like back then, it's very private when it comes back to it. Whereas now, buddies are always looking and trying to find ways to go and build their net worth, build income, and do things together. So I think stuff like this, in which you're bringing people amongst one another, can create opportunities where you can go and invest with someone that you might have just met to try and go buy that house, get those investments, and build a portfolio. Whereas before, it was always on my own type of attitude, where it was difficult.
I think it like fully ties into people in different generations, right?
Exactly.
Like people in our generation always want more, whereas in the past, people were very complacent. They'd buy a home, not often would they buy a second home, right?
But it's also very private, where you wouldn't. So for us, like in terms of we're always looking for more, but that means that we're open to discussing what we have with other people. Whereas before, at our parents' generation, that didn't exist. I know it wasn't with my parents.
Yeah, I mean, I think now it's your network is your net worth.
Exactly.
Ooh, did you come up with that?
No. Trademark. No. So, guys, let's sort of pivot a little bit.
I was going to say.
Let's talk about some geographical areas that you guys plan to target. Not all of our viewers are going to be here in Southern Ontario, right? And I know through talking with you. For me, not to sound arrogant by any means, but like I'm very careful with where I spend my money and my time.
Yeah.
Right. It's not because I'm some big wig with a
No, but at least
airplane
one of us has to.
I
I'm
just
very
I
frivolous.
can't. Yeah.
You're very,
like I have to. I can't live. I mean, I'm a single father too, right? So I got kids
Yeah.
that are obviously my top priority, and anyone around me knows
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
so those days where I'm on and dialed, I'm dialed. Like it's full out. So. This is obviously going to be a pretty sizable time commitment to make it what we want it to be, which I'm happy to do. But part of my decision making, aside from liking you guys and seeing the vision and aligning with the vision, was some of the expansion and some of the future
scaling, baby.
opportunities.
We're scaling.
Always
Exactly,
scaling.
like the
Always
scalability of
scaling.
what you guys are
And that's
doing.
the thing, right? And when you think about a golf tournament, you're not thinking, how do you scale a golf tournament? And that's really kind of what I was going back to with Rev Gen Inc. We haven't scratched the surface. It's going to be a lot more than golf tournaments. But this golf tournament, initiative that we're doing right now and that we're growing right now is sort of where it starts. It's where people understand that, what Rev Gen Inc. does, what we're here to do. And there's, again, there's a lot more than just the networking aspect to this, right? Let's not forget our real partners in this, and the reason why this is, also a huge initiative is Movember too, right?
Correct,
Like the biggest thing here, right, is, Movember has been fantastic with this. We are, soon to be the official golf tournament of Movember, and they have been with us the entire way, helping us scale this, and it's for a good reason, right? Like, honestly, they're the leading charity changing the face of men's health. They are the leading global charity, raising funds and awareness for men's mental health and prostate cancer, right?
Yeah.
And that's a huge issue that, guys like us, sales bros, alpha, A-type personalities just completely sweep under the rug.
Yeah.
And it's something that can't be ignored, man. I've lost close friends, I've lost family members to, mental health issues, and that's something that needs to be addressed. And you get guys like us in a room where, we're all just, you got testosterone flying around, and there's nobody really wants to talk about these things. So give us a space where we're getting out there, we're being competitive. Let Movember get out there and talk to you about how you can kind of, have these conversations, let these ideas circulate without really feeling like you're a wimp, right? You're not a wimp to talk about your mental health. And I think
Some might say you're stronger, right?
Yeah,
in terms of, 'cause
exactly.
no one else does it.
Yeah,
So-
and the reason we sort of brought Movember in on the sort of second half of this is it's just a whole topic on its own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's
So
also
I didn't want
super
to get
impressive to be that official sponsor.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's
Be the
part of
official
the-
partner of what
Yeah.
you're doing, right?
It's
And-
absolutely part of the reason, I'm in on this. And we're in
sure.
on this, right? It's a huge. It
Movember-
really ties it in all together
exactly.
and gives
And I
it
think like
even more
Movember,
purpose.
Movember's been a charity that I've always really bought into. I've always been really attached to.
I can tell by your face.
Yeah. I mean, this thing's this tickler right here. This has been around for about 5 years. It's not going anywhere. So
Please do not edit out Tickler.
no, but I like it's every year. I've got a page going, and I'm in people's ears. I love sales. I love sales.
Of course
and
you do, yeah.
And I'm in people's ears at pre-drinks, at after parties, at the bar. And I'm like, hey, you want to donate to my Movember page?
You go anywhere else?
That's the only places I go.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's always been something I hold close. And, Shane over at Movember, he's been fantastic.
Shout out to Shane.
Big shout out to Shane. Big shout out to Zoe and Chloe.
Yeah.
They, are seriously, invested in helping us grow this. And we're invested in, helping them get as much, awareness. Exposure as possible in those off months, right? Because people really only think about Movember in November. And it's,
I'm guilty of that.
And we want to, exactly, right? And we want to make it a year-round thing. And, bringing guys together for golf tournaments. It's Ontario right now, and this is going to kind of loop back into you talking about where we're targeting in terms of area demographics and stuff like that. But it's Ontario right now because that's where our network is. And as we grow and as we put on these stellar tournaments that people are like, damn, I'm coming back to this every single time. That's when we're going to start expanding. We're going to have one in Niagara next year. We're looking to get across Canada, looking at Calgary and Vancouver, just kind of laying out the roadmap for how we're going to scale this tournament. And we want it to be, the Revenue Generators Invitational is coming to your city. RGI, TPC Las Vegas, RGI, TPC Tampa Bay, right? Like it's going to go. And once this catches fire, once we pick up momentum and get some tailwind in this Ontario market, people understand what we're doing. It's going to be a lot more clearly defined. Right now, it's a little bit loosely defined, right? It's a collective. It's a collective of young, hungry guns that just want to grow their network, and we want to do it for a good cause, right? So,
And how cool is it that I don't know for sure, but I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that like the fact that this demographic, this age group, you're still kind of figuring out your place in the world and balance in your life and all these sort of things. Like, I would think there's a significant percentage of mental health issues in this demographic. So it's really cool that there's this whole network front of business and B2B and all this cool stuff. And then you have, this other component of the tournament and your vision partnered with one of the biggest, like you just said, sort of charitable organization that focuses on men's health, all in one event, right? That's a huge conversation piece, I think, that's relevant
Exactly.
for this, right? Which is really cool. Now, not to say, do I think there's going to be a bunch of guys out there on the golf course just talking about mental health? No, but I hope I hope there's conversations happening. If there's 5 conversations that happen too, it's worth it,
right?
Yeah.
And that's what Movember's there to facilitate, because we understand that people aren't going to go do it themselves.
Yeah.
But Movember's out there, they're setting up a ton of tents, they got fun activations, they got fun initiatives going on, and they've got a really good approach at making these conversations not intrusive, right?
Yeah,
and making these conversations easy to have, and that's kind of the whole thing, right? We tie them in, we give them a platform to connect with us, and bottom line is it's gonna make these conversations happen more often.
That's a good point, man. I love that. Yeah, because it's hard. It's
Yeah.
I'm not to be all macho, but I'm really not an emotional guy.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just I can listen. I'm very affectionate with my kids, and I can sit and talk to. I'm not like I'm put on a front, but I'm so dialed every morning. I don't wake up and my day isn't determined by how I feel. Like I have no choice but to just go from A to B.
Live
to
by
C
the
to
sword,
D.
die by the sword.
Yeah, right. So it's I've gotten, as I'm getting a little bit older. I'm 32 now. I'm able to reflect a little bit and try to be more grateful for where I'm at. But I mean, there's things that sometimes I feel like maybe I should have a conversation with
100%.
someone because there's so much going on, but you bury it. Right, and as
don't
we
have time.
know,
You're
that's
too
not
busy.
really a great thing to
Exactly.
do.
That's what you tell yourself.
Focusing on
anyways,
generating
right?
revenue.
I don't
Like,
have
that's right.
time. Talking about my feelings doesn't make me money, but
That's not a revenue generating activity.
But hey, I have a responsibility myself, but I have kids.
No,
Right?
but-
I got to be the best version of myself for them, so I got to make sure I'm staying.
But at the same
Absolutely.
time, going back to the mental health aspect of things, like I think the other side of it too is the fact that every day, if you're not paying attention to it, you are going to eventually find yourself in a rut, whether it be burnout, whether it be lack of motivation,
Absolutely.
etc.
Burnout's a real thing.
And it is then going to start impacting your ability to then go and make money, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people start to think that way, where talking about my feelings or slowing down and having those conversations, like I just said, doesn't make me money. That's part of the reason why I don't usually sit down and think about that. But then over time, it's going to lead to me not being as effective
boils
in my
up,
job.
man. It boils up. And you got to focus on it. You got to address it, whether it be whenever you start feeling it, or whether you're doing it once a month. Just you got to address it and just not let that kind of just boil up under the surface, because that's when you break. That's
stigma. We're
exactly.
we're
We're
top guns.
sales
We can't
pros.
talk
We're
about-
alphas, right?
Yeah.
That's not a revenue generating activity. You're not talking about your mental health isn't going to make me money, which is absolutely right. However, like you said, burnout's a real thing. And,
Indirectly, it could.
every high performing salesperson that I've ever worked with, myself, has been through it, right? When you grind 12 hours a day, when you're putting in every single ounce of your energy into making money and making dials, eventually you're going to tire out, and eventually you're not going to have that same juice. And addressing those things before that happens is how you kind of stay on top.
100%. Yeah.
And I think the other side that you just jumped on is that you guys, this isn't all you do. Right.
Exactly.
You
No,
are successful in
definitely
your own circle
think
in
so. We're
terms of
getting
your
there.
day-to-day life, right? But when you think about that and you look at it, I think a lot of our listeners or what we intend for our listeners is people that are looking to potentially become entrepreneurs in a sense, or learn from people that are doing things that maybe they aren't. And I think for you guys, it's really cool as well that this is a secondary thing that you work on, but you've become very successful with it, while still maintaining a high level of excellence in your day-to-day employment.
Sure.
Right? So I just wanted to
that's
make
a
sure that we
great-
commend you on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely,
that.
and that's cool. You because being an entrepreneur could be people think you build a business. Well, real estate investing is a business,
Right.
So there might be people that just want to invest in real
Or
estate.
charitable foundations are a business, like in terms of
Exactly.
contributing to Movember.
Yeah,
is a
but
business as
it's
well.
it's cool. Like we all do multiple things, and we want people to like. I mentioned this in the last one, so I'm not going to say the same book and chapter and all that stuff that I did in the first one. But it's one of my favorite books, The Reluctant Entrepreneur. But anyways, like he talks about this in like chapter 1 or 2, and it's like people think you have to dive all in to be an entrepreneur. You got to quit your day job, tell
Yeah.
your wife and kids you're never going to see them. It's such bull. Like you don't have to.
Sure.
You can slowly. Like you guys didn't quit your jobs to go start something. No, you're managing both.
Exactly, man.
And I want people to know, like, you can do other things and you don't have to sacrifice everything in your life to do it.
100%.
Right? Like, you have to make some sacrifices.
It's definitely a difficult task. Like, and you guys would
Absolutely.
definitely know,
It's a
right?
5 to
Like,
9,
it's
right?
it's definitely something
Absolutely.
you got to invest time and money into to kind of get your foot off the ground. But at the end of the day, like, we're passionate about it, and I think that's the most important thing about this whole
100%.
scenario.
They certainly are passionate.
No,
I can verify that.
What it is it's a passion project.
Yeah.
We both love golf. We're pretty horrendous off the tee box, but
I'm gonna dummy
both
them
love
today.
golf,
We're
right?
getting there. We're getting there.
We're playing 10 bucks a hole.
Don't you downplay me in public.
No, but you know what? It's a passion project, right? And I think, in the early stages, we were a little bit overwhelmed just by, the idea of it. It's like, let's incorporate here. Let's turn this into a real thing. Let's partner up with some really big brands and let's make this a real thing. And it was a little bit overwhelming at first, managing our actual careers, managing our, our day-to-day sales jobs, and then also, building a business. So it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning lessons, but, you build a new muscle when you commit to something like this. And, it's like we're working 9 to 5. And then we're working 5 to 9 on the RGI, and you're making calls and you're having conversations. When you're out and about, you're having conversations over the weekend, and it just becomes a lifestyle that you get accustomed to. And it's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of buy-in, takes a little bit of commitment.
And the difference with passion, not like remember we met, like we were having a couple drinks,
You're getting after it.
just a
You're
couple,
getting after it.
and dude, the way it was so unpitchy and like in my it doesn't matter if I'm having a few drinks or whatever setting I am. When it comes to business, like nothing, like it's very separate entity in my life. I have to so I'm always like thinking for the company, thinking about my staff, thinking about my vision and all of the bottom line, you name it. But the way you kind of approached it, the way you said it, like I committed to you right then. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I said I'm going to be a part of it. Whether it's 100%. The smallest little thing, whether it's something larger. And I just think for me, it was, and I told you this on the phone, I do a lot. I spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars on various things. That's a form of marketing and stuff like that.
Not much
This
in a
was
year?
unique.
How much money are you making, Eric? Jesus.
No, it's the company.
Humble brag.
Humble
brag. Put your,
I'm talking from the corporate
T4 next. T4 next.
T4.
Yeah. So, but like, it was something. It just felt right. Not that I make decisions on emotional feelings, but it just logically and strategically made sense. It's something different, right? It's something I'm not doing. So timing's obviously good. I mean, timing's not everything, but it has a huge part in a lot of cases. So I just think it was something. It's a new venture for Orange List and for the investment team to get out there and have conversations directly, not through a phone, not on Zoom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not through at a Starbucks.
Let's not tee up a 30-minute on Thursday afternoon at 4:00.
Yeah.
Come have a pint with me. Get your skewer from the barbecue, and let's chat. Let's chat shop. Right?
Yeah.
Let's chat shop. That's what it is, right? It's like you're not.
But it breaks down that barrier.
Exactly.
That's
exactly what it
and
is,
for
right?
me, the reason I started this company is I looked at the market and I realized there was a need for it. There was no good companies. So everything I've done, I'm a specialized realtor, right? Like I have to tell my friends sometimes I'm a real estate agent. They forget. I sell them now. I'm selling more regular houses, but like I'm really like I only got my license so I could sell assets to people as investments, right? So, but my point being is there's I know there's guys there that a decision like this can make an enormous difference, and who knows? Maybe there's some correlation and connection there between they're stressed out and overwhelmed because they're working their butts off in Toronto and they're like I don't own anything like. Maybe that's tied into their mentality. Maybe getting them an asset and starting to build their future so they can get married comfortably and they can have kids. And it all starts with a guy like me that's not, sitting there all, on a Zoom call trying to sell them a house. Like, I don't do that.
Listen, at the end of the day, like you guys work in sales. I would consider us advisors, right?
Yeah.
But the last thing you would ever say to anyone is you don't want to come across as salesy.
Exactly.
Right? And I think this is an environment where for Eric, what I see is a way for him to show who he is and allows him to work with the people that have the similar mindset as well to help them. Right?
Yeah, like anyone that knows me, like I'm very... Like I sell assets that I know will work. My risk tolerance is actually much lower than most of my clients. Like I want to buy. I'm like, like the reappraisal because we do a lot of refinances. Rip your money out, buy another one, right? Like there's a whole. I'm not going to get into it all on today, but we'll all have conversation with you guys and more as time goes on. But either way, it's not, real estate investing isn't like buying a stock or buying a mutual fund. You don't sit there at your bank, say, I want to give you 20 grand. They give you a list of stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
They give you the money, right? With real estate, you got to now go meet architects. You got to do renos. Tenants are going to call you if you don't have managers. So it's a different style of investing. It requires effort, time, energy to make it profitable.
Yeah.
And real estate investing is a business. Don't forget that. And if you don't treat it like a business, guess what? It's not going to perform like a business. So those are the conversations that I'm excited to have, because I know there's value there for people. And I just, like, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe people, like, not like real estate investing is like some secret, but people don't know that, wow, if I have the money, there's a company out there that can handle it from start to finish. And I mean, I deal with everything. All you do is send the checks and send the wires when I tell you. You're more than welcome to be a part of it. You can come down and see everything. Like, my business model set up where you can be involved or not be involved. So, I mean, I'm excited. And maybe, who knows, man, maybe we throw like some cool little, like, we host a day and like 10 people from the tournament come down and I take them on a tour.
Absolutely, man. That's what I mean. I think that was kind of the whole basis of you and I partnering up, us partnering up here as a group is like this. We want to be creative with how this is going to work for you. We want to be creative about where we take the RGI in general, and stuff like that. We threw a mixer last year at the Movember HQ. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff like that. A lot more, finding ways to be collaborative, network, bring guys together to chat shop and just have fun. And if there's a way that we can benefit from it in our lives, generate some revenue from it, right?
Yeah, and Johnson's not the mortgage broker that's going to be like weird. So I can get these people talking with him. Same thing as talking. It's just it's a non.
Like we said, bringing people together, right, is the primary goal. No different than what we've been able to do here, kind of today.
Yep. Exactly.
But I think just because we always want to try and be mindful of people's time as they're watching and tuning in, the biggest thing is just the conversations that we've had today. It hasn't been something in which that was scripted, hasn't been something in which that was planned. It was organic and it was flowing, and we saw where it was going to go, and it's going to clearly lead to more, right?
Exactly.
And I think for viewers in our audience, I think the main thing that you can see is that just because you have a full-time job that you're going to be excelling at doesn't mean that there's other things that you can pursue and become very good at also that bring a lot of good for a lot of people. And if you're the person that's going to be the connector, because at the end of the day, that's what you guys are. By having this tournament is connecting people. They're going to remember that you're a facilitator and you're the ones that are bringing people together. You're always then bringing value, and there's going to be leading to more opportunities. But you don't have to sacrifice the day job for the passion. And the fun part about it, though, for you guys is that you found a lot of success within that passion.
Yeah, like Movember. Like guys, that's what we talk about. Just do it, right? Like it's just sometimes you got to just do things. I bet you when you started it, I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if Movember was initially part of the first launch. When you guys
not
came
originally,
up.
no.
But look at where you're at now. Like that's a pretty cool, impressive thing, right? Like I don't think there's a person that doesn't know what Movember is, right? Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. I'm excited.
Thanks for having us.
You'll see these guys with us in the future. We're going to be doing a lot more of this stuff, and who knows where this is going to go. Right?
Absolutely. Up and to the right, baby. Up and to the right.
I think we're on the. I mean, if they keep giving me T-shirts, I'll keep inviting them to come down. So, guys, thank you so much for checking in.
Cheers, guys.
If you have any questions about this, certainly shoot us a message. We're happy to answer any clarify something, maybe help you get to these guys if you have questions or how you can maybe be involved. Right? There's also some sponsorship opportunities.
Absolutely.
So
don't forget to donate to Movember.
Yep, we'll have an RGI Movember set up, so there'll be a link that we can get on this podcast and our page as well. And then during the actual month of November, so obviously after the tournament, join the RGI challenge. Anybody that's raising money for Movember can join the challenge. It's all getting funneled right through the RGI straight to Movember. So
perfect. Beautiful. Guys, thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.